Okay, this is going to be the third take of the FL Studio tutorial because it was getting too long and I want to make this something that's like quick. I don't want it to be something that you can just watch. So right off the bat, we have these buttons. Important ones you're going to worry about is the tempo, which you use to drag up and down to change the tempo. And all of these, this is your playlist, this is your piano roll, this is your channel rack, this is your mixer track, this is your file browser, open and close it. And this is your progress on the song, this is master volume, master pitch. Don't worry about these, they're not important. Play, stop, toggle between what's playing, the pattern of the song. And you can see your CPU usage up here. It's kind of useful to know. And you got your waveform right here, which would normally look like an oscilloscope. Okay, so that's out of the way. Now we move on to the channel rack. This is your channel rack. This is where all the instruments go and shit. You can add instruments by pressing this little plus button and adding an instrument. I'm going to add in freaking SAR because I like SAR. I'm going to choose a program. Let's just do lead, and I'm going to do something like this. Let's see how this sounds. Something else. Let's see, where's my... So we have our thing. These things, these squares up here is a step sequencer. You can use this to very quickly make drum beats. If you have them right here, just like the 808s here. If I don't want, if I like it, just click on them. Left click to make it, right click to get it away. Just gonna do a quick thing. If I don't like how something sounds up here, I can take something I like, kick I have from the packs, and I can just drag it over and drag it onto the kick, and now it's changed. Maybe I want to change how it sounds, maybe I want to make it a bit more intense, so then I can just go over here and boost the shit out of it and clip it. Cool. Add a little bit of, no, not reverb, that's it. Okay. So next, well, I guess real quick, for organization purposes, if you have a bunch of drum tracks or anything else like it, you can click on these things, shift click, and select them all. Then go to this drop down, group selected. We can group them by drums, and now they're here, separated from everything else, which is useful. Okay, next we go move on to the mixer track, the mixer panel. Yes, this is a very important part of it, just like the channel rack. Everything in this program is important. So to assign a new instrument to mixer track, you would click on this box in the channel rack, you would drag up into a new mixer track. I'm going to rename it by pressing F2, SAR, and I'm going to recolor it to how I organize things. It's good to stay organized, kids. Always organize your mixer tracks. And once I have that, I can edit the volume of it. I can edit the panning. I'm just editing this now by dragging up and then dragging down. I can mute it. There's other things here we don't really have to worry about. And then we have slots. I got mixer tracks. These are very important as well. So let's say I want to add a little bit of reverb to it, a little bit of depth. I can just click on a fruity reverb, and I don't like how this sounds. I can want to make it a bit more. I can choose Cathedral preset. So it should be noted that the audio goes from the top of the mixer out the bottom, so the order of stuff does matter. Like if I were to, let's see, I guess the best way to describe this is with a bit crusher. This is a third-party plugin that I use. It's very consistent. So I bit crush it first, and then I apply the reverb, right? But I apply reverb and then bit crush it. It's a very noticeable difference there. Okay, but now I'm going to get rid of it. And I can swap these very easily by just hovering over them and scrolling. And this knob here is the wet level. The wet, dry, and wet in music basically means the wet signal is the affected audio, and the dry signal is the unaffected audio, the original input. So you can just edit that by dragging up and down on this. And disable it by doing this thing. Both of these things can be automated. I'll get into that a bit. And then let's say I want to move around mixer tracks. Well, I select it, press Alt, and then use the arrow keys to move it around. And then I have all these here. These are all my drum tracks, right? Well, maybe I want to have them all be routed to one big mixer track, so I don't have to edit these individually if I want to like change the volume of all of them at once. Well, there's a way to do that. It's called buses, drum bus, which is renaming this to drum bus, and then we're gonna do that. It's fine, you know what? It's fine. And then I'm gonna take this. This is the kick. I'm gonna unassign it from the mixer, from the master. This is where all your audio goes, by the way, like all of it. So the master, it's everything. I'm going to assign it to this, and the reason why we're doing like disconnecting it from the master is because it's going to go into the bus, and then that bus is going to go to the master. So if we didn't disconnect it from the master, it'd be going to the master twice, which would make it twice as loud, which you don't want. I mean, maybe you want it. I don't know. Do what you want. And then if I do add a compressor to it, make it a bit more punchy. This is a third-party compressor. It's very good. They just lower the threshold, which is like the amount that it compresses. Put the makeup up, which is like a bit of the ups the gain. Turn down the ratio a little bit. Then don't worry about it. Don't worry about the compressor. Right, we have our thing. I'm gonna quick change up the pattern here. Cool. Alright, so now that we have that, I suppose we can move on to the playlist, right? Is that what I have on my list? Yeah. Okay. So, next important part of the program, the playlist. That's the piano roll. The playlist. Yours is not going to be purple. I just have it purple because I made it like that. Here we have all of our tracks. This is where you drag your patterns to, and the patterns are where your notes go. These are, you can place any instrument in these at once, and you'll see that since we organized our things, the drums are separate from the lead. So this is very useful because I can just take this, I can shift click or just control C, control V, drag it over, but I like to use shift click because it just creates a duplicate right then and there. And then you make sure that it's on song, which allows this little playhead thing to appear, and then you just play it. Cool. I can rename it and recolor. I can add an icon to it to further organize my stuff. I can drag down on it, and I can group mixer tracks, tracks below it with the above ones. I usually do this with drums because I have several drums, and sometimes I'll drag over samples from the browser into it because I'm a little bit of a lazy ass. So it just keeps everything organized. Let's see. And then if I want to make a new pattern, I'd go down here, press the click, press the plus sign, and just new pattern. Since it's going to be the synth, I'm going to recolor it to the synth. Fuck. Going to recolor this to red. Cool. Alright, I have an idea for this. Alright. Don't worry about what plugins I'm using. Okay. Let's see, get rid of that reverb actually. Okay. I can extend the length of it by going to the edge of it and dragging. Oh yeah, this is the piano roll. I suppose I should explain this. So this is where you place all your notes. It's kind of one of the most important prospects of the program. So to place the notes, you would left click. To get rid of them, right click. You got all these things up here. Don't worry about it. All you really need to know is that this is the thing that draws them in. You can use this paint tool to drag out a bunch at once. And you can use this tool up here to listen to it by clicking and dragging. It's useful for chords. But I just select shit by control, clicking, dragging. It's very quick. If I want to move them around real quick, I can control shift up and down. I can swap the notes. If I want to swap in an octave, I would do control up and down. I don't really use these shortcuts, but I guess they're good to know anyway. If I want to adjust how precise this is, like maybe I want to move it smaller than 16ths, I would go up to this magnet and choose something smaller. So now I have more precision. All the way over to none, which is buttery smooth and very good for like very, very, very fine tuning. The stuff down here is the velocity. Velocity is basically how loud the note is. You have some different things you can adjust here, but velocity is going to be your main one. Yeah. I can select ones that you want to change by selecting them, and then if I do here, I can't edit these, but then I do here, and I can edit these. Again, Control Z to undo stuff. Control Alt Z to properly undo stuff. Like if you want to do undo more than one thing. Again, you can do the same thing, duplicating. Shift, click, drag. Oops. Cool, we have our pattern. I'm just going to be doing some basic chords here. That's right, I still have the bit crush on it, don't I? loud, so I'm gonna lower the volume of this. That. I'm gonna do this a little bit too. So I want to do the thing in this kind of genre where like every time the kick comes in, the everything else kind of ducks. Like it goes. Well, to do that really easily, use a thing called sidechaining. This is very, very bare bones sidechaining, sidechain. So what we do is we bring over a mixer track to the drums, or anywhere, I guess. We would assign the peak controller to effect 1, and then we would route the kick to this, so that information from the kick is being sent. I'm gonna lower the volume on this so it doesn't play twice, but you can see that the information from the kick is still in here. So then what I would do is I would things I want sidechain. Just gonna quick do a little bit of bussing. Okay. Cool. Then what I would do is I would just right click it, link to controller, change it to peak, invert it, and then to not make it like max at the top. You see it's like max and then it goes all the way down to the bottom. I'm going to do, let's see, 0.7 and then times 0.7. So you see it does this. Accept, and now be a little bit more drastic, so I would do is yeah, that's the playlist. What else am I missing? Piano roll. Oh, yeah, we're gonna, fucking automation clips. That's really important. So automation clips are easy way to just, I guess, pretty necessary way to control stuff in your track as it plays. So if I want to make the, let's just say, as an example, the clap, like, kind of fade in, I would highlight the selected track part I want to not export, sorry, automate, because else it will make an automation clip the entire length of the song, which at this length isn't that big of a deal, but if your song goes out to, like, here, it can be very annoying to deal with, but it doesn't, so. Highlight. Yeah, that'll work. Then go to whatever you want to automate, right click, create automation clip. And then with this, I can control what it does. So if I want it to fade in, I would bring down this one. And you can see, well, if I just bring it out, you can see that the mixer here, the slider here is moving up as I'm moving it along the playlist. And you can do this with anything. Like, you can automate literally anything for the most part. You can automate your tempo. You can automate the mixer wet. You can automate whether it's turned on or not. You can go into plugins and automate stuff there. You can automate anything you want. Um, you can automate that. You can automate this. You can just everything. You can automate the panning on the channel rec. You can automate the mixer track. What? Um, yeah, and if you're using a third-party plugin, which I will get into very shortly, and you want to automate something there, let's use a funny plugin. So if I want to automate something here, I can't right-click it because this is not a VST, a native FL plugin. So how would I access those things? Well, you would click this little drop-down and browse the parameters, and you have all your parameters here. You can automate these, like. You can automate that. Let's get rid of Delay Llama. We don't really want him. He's not welcome. You can see that your automation gets its own little place in the channel rack because it's part of it after all. It's included too. And yeah, that's I guess we're not done with automation clips yet. Or anything for that matter. Let's say I want to have a pattern here, and I want to edit it slightly, right? I want to edit it a little bit. But if I do that, well, every other pattern does the same. You see that? You see it moving there? I don't want to do that. I want to edit this thing on its own, separately. How do I do that? Well, you would click on this little tiny piano icon up here. Click that, and then you can make unique. And that creates a clone of the track, allowing you to freely edit it. One more thing about piano roll. Shift, click, and drag to make a note of any length. Same thing for automation clips as well. You can make them unique, which is good. Best way to learn stuff in this program is just to play around with it. Honestly, that's just my advice to you. Look through the packs, see what's in there. Don't be afraid to use presets. Just do whatever sounds good, you know. So I think there's just one last thing we got to talk about. The file browser. Well, actually, that's, I guess, three things. Yeah, 3 things left to talk about. If this is the file browser, it's where you can access files, and you can actually add files to them. Like you see here, I have FNF voices, in case I want to do voices. Like I have the hominid vocals here, which are funny. Ooh, ooh, ooh. They're very funny. And I can just take them, and I can drag them over and do things with them. Yay. But no. So then, after that, we would, if I want to add a new folder, I would click this little drop down here. I would configure extra folders. And then you have all of these things here. And to add an extra folder, you would just click this folder icon, and then it takes you to this. You choose where you want choose where your samples are. I'm just gonna pretend that I did, and then you'd click OK, close that, and then you would refresh it, and it's refreshed. Yay! Now, another thing to talk about, this is a frequently asked question. How do I add third-party plugins? I install them, but they don't appear in FL Studio. What am I doing wrong? Well, what you're doing wrong is you're not scanning for them. You gotta go up to options after installing them, manage plugins, and then you would just click this find more plugins button up here. You would click it, it would scan it, it might take a little bit, and then new plugins would appear in yellow here. And if you want to add them to the, you want to make them appear when you select new instrument in the channel rack, you would click this little star next to it. I don't need to do this right now because I already have everything I want. So, yeah, that's it. That's it. Yes. Okay. And then last things last, I suppose, would be saving your project. It's very simple. Just save it. Then if you want people to like see what your project is called and who made it and stuff, and like if they're gonna listen to it on an album, you would go to project info, and then you can just name it here. And then it's there. You can see the project working time. I've been doing this for 26 minutes. Dang. I guess it's better than the last attempt. And yeah, since we're ready with the song, we can export it. And to do that, you go to File, Export, and then you can choose your things here. I'm going to do it in MP3. I'm going to save it to audio. There's stuff here. Don't really have to worry about it. And it starts to export. And there it is. Hmm. Yeah. That's it. That's the FL Studio tutorial, I think. If there's anything I missed, let me know in the description. Not description. Fuck the comments, please. Because there's a lot to go over in this program, and it's easy to miss things. But if I have a question, I can most definitely answer it because I know this program like the back of my hand. So, thank you for watching. I'm sorry if this was a little long, like drawn out, but there's again a lot to cover. So, hopefully you can get to making your FNF funny music, stuff like that. I suppose if you're gonna do that, you probably want to use Zondo, right? I suppose I can quick show how to do that. That's for Zondo. It'd be here. You'd click inside of it, and then you would load in a sound font by clicking on import. You'd go to where your sound font is downloaded. I happen to have it here. I'm going to actually use Tank Man. And then it's loaded in. Cool, we have it loaded in. So that's it. That's how you do that.